last time I was content, and now I wonder, how do I get there again? Why am I clutching and grabbing at all the things that I don't have when you've given me everything? Why am I stuck in my feelings thinking I know what I deserve when the answer is clear to me? Cause what you give me, Lord, is more than I desire. You're my provider. And when I lose my way, you lead me through the fire. You're my provider. Even on my darkest day, you show me where the light is. You're my provider. And when my strength is gone, I know where to find it. You're my provider, my provider. I'm not forgotten, I am a child beloved. What you have given has always been enough. Why am I clutching and grabbing at all the things that I don't have when you've given me everything? Why am I stuck in my feelings thinking I know what I deserve when the answer is clear to me? Cause what you give me, Lord, is more than I desire. You're my provider. When I lose my way, you lead me through the fire. You're my provider. Even on my darkest day, you show me where the light is. You're my provider. And when my strength is gone, I know where to find it. You're my provider, my provider. You have always been, you will always be. Your faithful hand is holding on to me. You are mine. Oh God, you are mine. Cause what you give me is more than I desire. My provider. And when I lose my way, lead me through the fire. My provider.
seated.
Good morning, everyone. Today I would like to welcome a very unfamiliar face to Western Christian. Mr. Kurt Veldhuizen is a very new face to Western. He came here all the way from Webster City to share a very important message with us. So please join me in giving him a very warm Western welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Emery. Thanks a bunch for Emery to reaching out to me. I am excited to be here today, get into a little bit more about who I am, but I have something to try first. This is the first time I've ever done this. But what I want your participation in is a little kind of roller coaster cheer. So when I go like this, you're all going to go that way. And when I go like this, you all go that way. Okay, and then when I go like this, you're all going to just go, like you're riding up the roller coaster. Okay, and then we'll come down, oh. Does that make sense? Can you participate with me? Are you ready? Oh, I forgot a disclaimer too that your teachers would probably appreciate. Make sure you're not like smacking each other or anything like that. Stay in your seat. Ready? We're going to go up the hill first. Ready? Here we go. There, perfect. All right, we're up the hill. Here we go. Oh! 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 All right, now we got the blood flowing at least. So that's a little physical roller coaster there, but today I hope in the next 30 minutes here that Emery has given me, maybe I'll take you on a little emotional roller coaster as well as a hopefully spiritual roller coaster. So before we get started too much about me and my story, I do have a couple of disclaimers. First disclaimer is we're going to get really deep and serious today. And something that's really passionate to me is mental health, emotional health. And it is so important in the world that you've probably all heard of 911 before for fire emergencies and etc. But here in the United States, we actually have a 3-digit phone number now called 988. And that is for if you're struggling with anything mental or emotional help that you need help. And so I always in my speeches like to share that just because it's really close to me. I am a teacher myself. Sadly, I've known students who have made a grave mistake and made a decision that is not reversible. So please know this number. We've shortened it down to 3 digits. It's very important. The other thing before I start today is if at any point in time I talk about something today that hits a little too close to home. You don't have very good exits out the back with your bleachers here, but you are definitely welcome to step out. Like I said, we'll get a little serious and a little deep. So just those couple of things. Next, then, a little bit about me. I already shared I'm Kurt Veldhuizen. I am a Christian. I am a son. I am a stepfather. I'm a husband. I skipped that one, sorry. My wife and one of my daughters is here with me today. So I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a stepfather. Our oldest son goes to Dordt University, not too far down the road. And I'm an ag teacher. I've been teaching agriculture at Webster City High School for 20 years. Been teaching for 21 years total, so kind of not new at the ag teacher thing. So, but it's something that I'm very passionate about then as I take personal days to go to schools in order to help share a little bit about my life and my message, hopefully bringing a little resiliency to all of our students, as many as I can contact. And then beyond that, I'm a friend. I'm surrounded by a lot of people that support me and that I've had friends throughout my life that helped get me through. This is very important. We'll kind of circle back to this later. And it's very important, I think, that we start thinking about who are we? And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, a little bit more about who I am is anybody know what that ribbon is? Or what ribbons like that look like or represent? Cancer, correct. That is specifically a Hodgkin's lymphoma ribbon. I have had Hodgkin's lymphoma twice in my life, and that's really kind of what I'm going to share with you is my experience with that, but then hopefully wrap it up towards the end to empower you a little bit. But I was first diagnosed in 2002. That was when I was 21 years old. I was literally, when my health started going downhill, I was literally 2 months into being 21 years old. We're in high school, so we're not going to elaborate on that more. But I just know some of you are looking towards 18, then you're 21, and then you get 43 like me, and you don't look forward to ages anymore. But so I was diagnosed when I was 21. I was a junior at Iowa State University, and my world just stopped. It ended. I had a lot of questions about if I did it to myself, if there was something I did in my life that caused it. And I always call it the 6-letter word, cancer. We hear that a lot. Thankfully, they've come a long ways, but a lot of times we hear cancer and all of a sudden we think it's a death sentence. And I thought that as well, of, oh my gosh, like, this is going to be it. Thankfully, though, it was Hodgkin's lymphoma. After talking to the doctors and an emotional roller coaster there, Hodgkin's is supposed to be curable. And I use the word curable because maybe if you're familiar with cancers, you've heard of people being in remission before. Remission means that the cancer's not growing, it's kind of in check, but it still exists, it's still there. But Hodgkin's is supposed to be 100% curable, treated, out of the body, never get it again. And so in 2002, I went through chemotherapy, radiation, doctors actually recommended. Thankfully, we did a lot of the chemo in the summer, but my oncologist recommended you don't need to go back to college. Was very fortunate then. I spoke to my professors. I was still on, no, I want to get school done in 4 years. Thankfully, I talked to my professors at Iowa State, and since I was going to be a senior, most of my classes were kind of small education. Maybe the teachers in the room kind of understand when you're a senior, a little bit smaller classes. And so I talked to all of them, and they said, no, Kurt, if you're willing to put in the work and stay caught up, we'll work with you even if you can't make it to class this day or that day because you're sick or anything. So went ahead and did that, and very thankful I did graduate then. So I got my first teaching job at Eagle Grove. It was a relatively small town. I was only part-time, but I had offers to be full-time, but they were about 4 hours away from Des Moines, and I didn't want to be that far away from my doctors. And so I started teaching in Eagle Grove, then I started teaching in Webster City full-time, and everything was going great. My wife and I actually started dating about that time, and then in 2009, my health just headed downhill again. And we really couldn't figure out at first. It actually took us probably 5 or 6 months, it seems like, to figure out what was going on even, because I had Hodgkin's the first time in my neck and in my left lung, and Hodgkin's is in your lymph nodes of your body, and so we were doing scans and stuff trying to identify, okay, all that area, because statistics say if a Hodgkin's lymphoma person ever gets a reoccurrence, it comes back in the same location. And so we were worried about my heart function, lung function, yada, yada. Long story a little shorter, jumping ahead, we finally realized, ooh, I did have cancer cells and they were in my lower back. Didn't know exactly what type, finally did biopsy, and thankful that it came back, it was Hodgkin's lymphoma again, which only 5% of people ever have a relapse even. And so since it was back again, we really had to ramp up treatment. I did kind of an aggressive dose of chemotherapy then, where I had to be actually in the hospital for 3 days. And I did that every 2 weeks, doing chemo, did 4 rounds of chemo. Then I actually got sent over to the University of Iowa Hospital Clinics, where I had to do a stem cell transplant, where they harvested my stem cells, my bone marrow, and I was thankful, lucky, I got an autologous one, which means they harvested my own and then gave it back to me afterwards. But after they harvest your stem cells, then they give you high-dose chemo. And I was terrified. By now, dating my wife, she had to go through all that with me as well, and then just looking, well, less than 5% get it, like, once again, I got it again. And so I kind of compare this, And I kind of skipped over that part, but this has kind of been my mountain in life, it seems like, is dealing with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I had to do high-dose chemo, and in the words of the doctor, he simply said this: "We're going to kill you so that you can survive." And I did not realize what exactly that would mean until I went through it. For about 10 days then in the hospital, I was in the hospital for a whole month. I was quarantined. I had my own little bubble room in a way. It wasn't really a bubble, but had separate ventilation. So I like to say now, since we all had to experience COVID a few years ago, I did isolation before isolation was a thing, really. But there was 10 days where my blood counts registered on machines absolute zero, that I still had red blood cells, but they were so little the machine wouldn't even detect it. And ultimately, I've had pints and pints and pints of blood. That's a shameless plug I always like to do too. I cannot donate blood anymore in my life, but if you ever donate blood, thank you. Thank you from a person who would not be here today if it wasn't for you willing to donate blood. And so along with that year then, since I had that aggressive treatment, I did have to take off teaching for the whole year. And that was probably one of the most hardest parts, is to take off teaching, not be around students. It's kind of what I live for, is to work with students and to work with young people now. So I like to share my story with everybody and then kind of relate it back, because a lot of times then people are like, wow, how did you get through that? I got through that with my faith. It was in isolation. There's a lot of alone time. And so that's really when I kind of really connected with God in a deeper level. I read a lot of books of people that have went through traumatic things in life as well, and kind of strengthened my faith through that. Along with that, my family, my friends, are who I leaned on. But one thing I always like to share is a lot of times after presentations or stuff, people think, wow, you got it together. I don't. I'm human. There's still things today that I struggle with. There's still things today, well, for example, tomorrow morning I need to go back to the doctor again. Nothing major, not a major check, but it's always in the back of my mind of, well, what's next? So I think our faith, our family, our friends is what really gets us through that. The other thing that I got really big on, and I got a couple short videos I'd like to show you. Tech guys, I don't know if we really tested the sound. I hope maybe the video will work. But I'm a huge Iowa State fan. That's where I went to college, but I'm a huge basketball fan as well, and engaged in sports. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Jimmy Veldhuizen. He was an old college coach, and he was diagnosed with cancer, and so it really hit home related to me. But he had a quote in a speech that he gave once that still is all around. The Jimmy V Foundation still exists. He said, "Don't give up. Don't ever give up." And sharing my story, I like to share that because we all have mountains. We all have mountains in life. It's what we deal with. We all have different things. One thing, sorry to your school counselor in here. One thing is that I don't like comparing. I don't like the idea that sometimes we encourage young people like you to be like, well, you could have it worse. You could have da-da-da. So when I leave today, I hope you don't ever say, well, you could have it worse. You could have went through cancer twice. That's not the point of today's message. I have students that walk into my classroom every day at Webster City High School that I know go home at night and don't know where their next meal is going to come from. They don't know if they look forward to coming to school tomorrow because they know they're going to get lunch at school. Myself, I've never grown up like that. I could not imagine if that was one of my mountains. And so instead of comparing, I think instead we need to kind of step back and just be like, hey, we all live this life. We all have things going on. Your family pet for 12 years could have just passed away last night, and that's kind of what's on your brain, and that's what's happening. So when you're going through life, that's a message, hopefully, don't give up. Don't ever give up. And then beyond that, really hit home in 2014, since I'm a sports person, the ESPY Awards. Hopefully, maybe some of you have seen those before. But Stuart Scott then was a sportscaster. He got diagnosed as well with a different type of cancer, and he got the Jimmy V ESPY Award in 2014. And watching his message really just hit home to me as well because it relates to my mountain. And I'd like to share a little bit of his speech with you today. Since 2014 was 10 years ago now, and several of you were probably way young. Maybe you've never seen this.
But I listened to what Jim Valvano said 21 years ago. The most poignant 7 words ever uttered in any speech anywhere. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Those great people didn't. Coach Valvano didn't. So to be honored with this, I now have a responsibility to also not ever give up. I'm not special. I just listened to what the man said. I listened to all that he said, everything that he asked of us, and that's to build the V Foundation. And let me tell you, man, it works. I'm talking tangible benefits. You saw me in that clinical trial. Now, here's the thing about that. Coach Valvano's words 21 years ago, helping me and thousands of people like me right now, direct benefits. That's why all of this, why we're here tonight, that's why it's so important. I also realized something else recently. You heard me kind of allude to it in the piece. I said, I'm not losing. I'm still here. I'm fighting. I'm not losing. But I got to amend that. When you die, that does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and in the manner in which you live. So live.
Still kind of gets to me even, and I can't count how many hundreds of times I've watched that. And I just think, like I said, this kind of relates directly to my message and my mountain, because cancer is what I've dealt with in my life. But I really think we can take that beyond. Whatever mountains, whatever hills that you are climbing and struggling with, that message just really hits home. How do you beat it? You beat it with how you live, why you live, in the manner in which you live. And then he ends by saying, so live. And that's what I've been very appreciative with. God is the one that helps me. This really, coming and talking to you today and other students, it's really what helps me to hopefully know that I'm beating my mountain by how I live, how I share my story, how I hopefully can help other people who are dealing with life. The other thing then is later on in his speech, he also has another little quote here that I want to share with you, a little segment of his speech as well. Uh-oh.
Rest and let somebody else fight for you.
Can you restart it to the beginning? Maybe.
And when you get too tired to fight, then lay down and rest and let somebody else fight for you.
So that's, but I think that part of the speech really hit me home too, because one of the biggest things I struggled with was being in isolation. I had been a teacher for almost 10 years by then, and I was kind of used to being in front of students, used to kind of running things. And I really struggled with the fact of being able to just relax, to let others, we were just dating at the time, but my now wife, let her truly help me. Instead, I tried to take on this front of my parents, my family. They were all worried about where it was going to go, and I tried to take on the front of, no, I'm strong enough. I can show how strong I am by doing it. And then this is a quote that really hits home. It is still posted in our living room, and it really relates to this, right out of the Bible even. Psalms, maybe? Might have to advance it for me. There we go. Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Sometimes when we're going through things, we just have to be able to just relax, just exist, just rely on others in our life, our faith, that things will improve, things will get better. I am very thankful that today, one of the things, a lot of times after speaking, one of the first things people ask me is, man, if you could go back to 2001, would you wish or not ever get it? And this is kind of a weird answer. I would answer no. It scares me more today of who I would be without those life experiences than who I am now, still worried about reoccurrences or anything like that. My life has made me who I am. The good, the bad, everything. And if I were to go back and not have those experiences, not have those, number one, I wouldn't be here in front of you. And so I always like to think we gotta think forward. What do we do next? And I stole this from a show we were just watching a couple weeks ago on TV, and the guy said it. I don't think it was even supposed to be that meaningful. But he said, mistakes are part of the game. It's what we do next is what matters. And I think that's very true, not just in our life experiences of things we can't control. I don't think I ever answered that. I was very fortunate then of that fear of I did something. Thankfully, Hodgkin's lymphoma, they think it has a small genetic connection, but otherwise it's a random cancer. It really does not have a huge genetic connection even too. So it's not like I got it from my parents. My parents were super, oh my gosh, like our son or daughter got this and it's our fault, it's our genetics. That wasn't even true. So I just think what always helps me, and later I think Emory has it part of your faith packs as well, is a question for you of who are you? You are a student here at Western Christian High School. I can guarantee that every one of these staff members, no matter the trials, no matter if they had to send you up to the principal's office one time or something, I guarantee they care about you. And when you make your list of who you are, you have someone at every one of those stages guaranteed that does care about you and who you are. And so I'm very thankful making my list, and my list even goes on longer than that. The other thing, I'm not very good at it. I like to say I'm a hacker golfer, but I like to golf in the summer and on a league golfing with some other people in Webster City. We give each other a hard time, but I can guarantee that they care about me. And so I think it's very important to kind of set, what's your list? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you going to be? And then that's very important to just make you feel like you are important, because you are important. The other thing, stole this. I probably am supposed to have unknown up there or so, since I can't remember. Got this from a public speaker that I heard once too, FFA. We're very fortunate. We go to state and national convention. Usually we have motivational speakers there too, and so I kind of steal little tidbits. But one speaker I heard once, he had a quote and he said, "We're all human. We're either in a crisis, coming out of a crisis, or heading towards a crisis." And so I'm really big on resiliency, but I think that's true. Life gets messy, and we're always kind of struggling with different things. The other thing I always like to share then, so hopefully I've talked a little bit and you kind of got a message so far about yourself and being resilient, is that's kind of the word that we call it. That's having grit, being able to get through tough times when tough times are happening. But the other thing I always like to share with schools then is flip it around a little bit. I don't think you have much to worry about here at Western Christian High School, but I always like to flip it around then, that hopefully think about others. Don't judge. But it's always weird that I share don't judge. And then being an FFA advisor, I train kids for job interview contests, for example. And what is job interview? In job interview, I always train my kids that the first 10 seconds is the most important part of a job interview, which is true. Do you know why it's the most important part of a job interview? The interviewee will judge you in 10 seconds. The first 10 seconds, they will already get an idea of who you are and how you act. And so I always like to share, instead of telling young people, don't judge people, it's human nature. What we really need to start working on is not vocalizing it. And I share another story. I'm a perfect example. I'm human, I'm not perfect. State Fair, I'm an ag teacher, I love State Fair. I'm actually supervisor of the FFA Market Lamb Show down at State Fair. But at State Fair, one of my favorite things to do at State Fair is there is a bench that's right outside of the horse barn at State Fair. And it's been my bench and I actually grew up around Des Moines, so went State Fair even when I was young showing, and I even did it back then. But I sat on a bench by the horse barn, right next to the main entrance coming through from the south side of the fairgrounds, and I sat there and I people watch. You ever heard of people watch? Well, what do we do when we people watch? I hate to say it, but we're judging. It's human nature. But you know what I don't do? And sorry if this hits close to home, I don't do this. I don't vocalize it. I don't send it out to the rest of the world. And I don't sit down with a friend even and laugh and joke about people. And so as part of this slide, I kind of have here too, actually it's the next one. The other thing I like to talk to high school students about, because my students are students, I give them a hard time, but I'm trying to help them learn. But most of you have $1,000 piece of equipment in your pocket or your bag. It's crazy how much these things cost nowadays. But it's nothing more than a $1,000 tool. It's a tool. What do you use the tool for? And like I have up here on the slide, a hammer. Most of us know what a hammer is. A hammer is a basic tool. I can use a hammer for good, or I can use a hammer for bad. I can chuck that hammer at a window and shatter a glass. Very easy. I can also use that hammer to create an excellent masterpiece woodwork. And that's what you can do with these two. And too often we hear and we see people breaking other people's windows with this $1,000 tool. Hammer costs 10 bucks. And so I challenge you today, as you leave school, you're probably not supposed to have cell phones in school, in class, but what do you use your tools for in life? Do you use your tools for good? Or are you using your tools to break others' windows? And then Emery shared this with me, that it's FFA's theme this year. I love this verse. And it really relates, hopefully today, to what I've talked about so far. Sow righteousness. Help others. Okay? That's what we really need to do. And if you do that, then you will reap the benefits of unfailing love. And I've been so blessed in my life, so blessed, even though I've had mountains, that my wife went through that traumatic time, my second time through, stuck with me, 100%, still with me today. She teaches at Webster City High School too, by the way. She's an English teacher, married an ag teacher, and I don't have the greatest grammar. I've never figured that out. And then our youngest daughter is with us through all my treatment. This is going to get really deep and serious. Through all my treatment, I was not supposed to be able to have children. And so thankfully my wife even took that on, and we were supposed to do fertilization treatments and all this type of stuff. My daughter that's here with me today, 100% natural. What a blessing. What a blessing. And that straight God and Jesus blessed me with that. And she's an amazing young gal. I thought I was going to be a little traumatized a couple years ago, that being an ag teacher, we're supposed to all be about like animals and showing livestock at county fair, and I grew up that. It's not her thing. But she is a national champion in tumbling and trampoline. And I'm just so fortunate then. And I like to think that that wasn't me that did it. It's the man above. And it's because hopefully, I'm serving him every day, trying to help share positive messages, resiliency. And so I challenge you with that too. As we leave today, you break into your faith packs, I think right after this even. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, yeah. And once again, hopefully you guys had a good National FFA week. Sorry I couldn't be here last week. Emery wanted me to come, but we were kind of busy with our FFA week too. But I do challenge you that, and hopefully there's some good questions, thought-provoking questions in your faith pack that I've helped share with Emery. Maybe she's added a couple more. Emery also has my contact, my email. I apologize, I'm so busy at school and stuff, I don't do social media very well. If you find me on social media, it's 100% thanks to my wife tagging me and stuff. But you certainly can reach out with my email if you want. Do understand I am a public educator, and so if you are struggling, I would prefer that you call 988 first. Call 988. If you do call and contact me, I'm a mandatory reporter if I feel like you're truly in jeopardy and things like that. But if you want to just chat or anything, that's one thing I'm really proud of my ag students. They know who I am, and they know that they can come to me just about life, because beyond our academics, that's what's most important. And I think every one of your teachers would agree with that they worry about math, they worry about English, but they worry about you, who you are, who you can become. And if they ever get hard on you, it's because they see better even than what you're currently performing. That's kind of our job as a teacher. Okay? So there's the discussion questions I kind of gave Emery. I think you have them in a packet. I don't know if we have enough time. If anybody does have a question or two, I'm very willing to field it. Otherwise, that's all I have. Thank you. And do they know about what's next? Okay. We did this a few years ago. I'm going to have to bring it back after being here today now.
Thank you, Kurt, for that message. Now we're going to be doing our Kiss the Pig contest. Thank you to everyone who donated. We raised $2,912.55 for Macy. So thank you, everyone who donated. We cannot wait to give all this money to her. If I talked to you before, could you please come down to kiss the pig? I think so. T. Ryder. These are all the people. Does Marianne have the...
Okay, so our pig is coming shortly, but I thought we'd take this opportunity to, here she is. Are you guys ready? Can we form a line here for our lovely pig kissing contest? Okay, you ready? Are you ready? Okay, do we have any comments before? Are you excited about this opportunity to immerse yourself in the swine industry? You know, Iowa is #1 in market hogs. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, you did today. Okay, if you want to step up here, Brecken's got an amazing pig for you to kiss. Aw, so cute. Everyone give him a round of applause. It takes a lot of effort to do this. Who's our next participant? Are you ready? Oh, do you have any comments before?
Nope. Looks cute.
It is really cute. Do you know what breed of pig this is?
It's a brown one.
It is brown. It is a Duroc, but I'm so glad you did learn that today. If you want to go and kiss your pig. Oh, do you have any final comments? Was it a fun time? Oh, I know. All right, we have some students now who volunteered to kiss the pig. If you guys want to line on up. Who's first? Oh, we have a brave soldier to kiss the pigs. Do you have any comments before?
Thank you guys very much for raising so much money for Macy. We really appreciate it.
Yes, this is truly an amazing opportunity.
You get the honors of holding your pig.
Oh. Who's next? You ready? Kiss the pig? You gotta hold it too. Like a baby. Okay, you gotta kiss it for the audience. Like, face the audience and show them how you would kiss a pig. I just did. Do it again, I gotta see it. You wanna go to the middle and do this? You could go right up front. Are you ready? You wanna come up to the middle? Emily, you gotta kiss your pig. Are you ready? Aww. Emery, are you ready to kiss your pig?
Yeah, I am.
You are. Do you want to go to the middle so everyone can see? Thank you. Are we missing anyone? Uh-oh. Least but not, oh. What Yeah, I think you need to do it again. I don't think everyone saw. That was so good. Emery, do you have any final words? Or Marianne?
Do you have final words? I have a couple. Okay. Student body, I am so proud of you guys for stepping up with these change wars, for being willing to give as much money as you did, for entertaining us with this, and for making so much money for Macy. I think we can learn a lot from you guys. Thank you for this.
You guys can be dismissed to your faith packs now.